can't believe I missed my daughter's birthday for this.
You got kids?
Sounds rough. Nah, I wouldn't trade it for a thing.
Hey everyone, Jacob here at /played, and at the time of this recording, Father's Day is around the corner, so I figured what better time to start playing Pragmata, and I'm surprised by how much I'm enjoying it. It's refreshing to be playing a new IP from Capcom, and so far I'm having a great time with its combat, even if the game is pretty easy. But even more surprising than how much I'm enjoying the game is how often Hugh's interactions with Diana always get me thinking about fatherhood. I have a 6-year-old son and a 4-year-old daughter, and it's made for a fun but also very reflective playthrough so far. And that's what I want to explore and reflect on with you guys today. But before we get into it, there are two quick caveats. And the first is that I haven't beaten the game yet. So think of this as a kind of first impressions video. And even though I can kind of anticipate where the story is going, I don't think anything is really going to change what I'm talking about in this video, since it's all based on my initial experiences with the game. And two, so I guess I'm living under a rock, but until I sat down to make this video, I had no idea there was any controversy about this game. I'm about halfway through it, and it's always struck me as a wholesome, positive portrayal of fatherhood. I was confused and kind of sad to see that there were people out there interpreting this game in a creepy way or politicizing it. It never even occurred to me while I was playing that the game could be controversial in any way. It just seemed like the most innocuous, straightforward game possible. So to be clear, I'm not going to be addressing or rehashing any of that stuff here. People are entitled to their opinions, of course, and I'd rather focus on my positive experiences with the game and how it's helped me reflect on my fatherhood journey up to this point. So let's get into that, and throughout the video, I will be referring to Hugh as a dad just for the sake of simplicity. Of course, I know he's not her dad, she's an android, but just for the sake of clarity and continuity, he's kind of taking on that role, or at least the role of guardian. So yeah, for the sake of the video, we'll just say dad. When Hugh says to Nicholas, "You have kids," sounds rough. It's a simple moment on its surface, but I actually think it does a great job of foregrounding Hugh's pre-dad perspective. And it's certainly a perspective I think a lot of folks share before having kids. And yeah, being a parent can be rough and difficult in many ways, but I remember that's all I focused on before I had kids. You always hear and think about all the tough parts, but then once I found myself with my own little human or humans to protect and take care of and teach, suddenly that stuff doesn't matter anymore because I do anything for them. There's so much joy in helping them discover and understand the world that the tough moments are worth it. Part of the learning process for both me and for the family. And this is really cheesy, but trying to explain how things work or why they work the way they do and seeing things through the eyes of a child helps add some wonder and magic back into the world and helps kind of suspend, even if just temporarily, my own cynicism and bitterness I've accumulated over the decades. And once Hugh finds himself in this guardian father figure type role with Diana, I feel like this process plays out in a really charming, endearing way. It's rewarding to watch them go through these different situations, both positive and negative, and see how Hugh evolves from that person who's saying, having kids sounds rough, to just embracing the responsibility of taking care of Diana, and their bond makes everything worth it. But yeah, it's not easy, and anyone who has small kids or is around them knows they're always putting themselves in crazy situations where they might hurt themselves, and I'm just always in that protection mode, and it's this paternal desire to protect that the game continually activates, at least for me, which I know is kind of ridiculous because it's just a game, it's not that deep, but that's what art and entertainment do, right? They dramatize our experiences, they play on our emotions, and when done successfully, can invite us to reflect on those different aspects of our lives. As much as I want to protect my kids, though, I've also learned that I have to trust them, especially as they're getting older, trust them to make their own way, to make their own mistakes, and that they're more capable and less fragile than I often assume. You see several moments like this between Hugh and Diana in the game where she demonstrates to Hugh how capable she is, how he needs to trust her, and that they can work together. I mean, granted, last I checked, my kids aren't androids with, hacking capabilities. But again, the game just had me reflecting on my own moments as a dad of learning how to trust my kids, to let them help in their own ways and give them space and responsibility to be independent without me always trying to protect them from everything. It's a balancing act, and it's one I still get wrong, but I'm always working on it, trying to do what's in their best interest. And what's best isn't always immediately clear, but one of the things I appreciate about the dynamic between Hugh and Diana is that, Hugh is a badass that's capable of holding his own and protecting her, but he also takes the time to explain more abstract concepts to her that involve some vulnerability on his part, or at least the willingness to talk about his own childhood and being adopted. And he always does this in a kind of balanced, upbeat way. He doesn't need to be the gloomy, solitary hero, nor does he need to be overly sentimental and dramatic about it either. For example, there's a moment early on when they talk about food and nutrition, and Hugh explains to Diana how mealtime conversations are nourishing for the soul, and how important it was for him that his adopted family made time to listen and talk to him. And it might sound cheesy or trite, sure, but I think one of the biggest surprises when I became a dad was how much I found myself reflecting on my own childhood, thinking about how my parenting style is informed by my own upbringing. And I suddenly found myself in these situations where I needed to explain something to my kid, and often it became this mix of both trying to explain the thing itself while also sharing some part of myself or my past in order to help connect the dots or why something was important or mattered. Again, even though it's just a game, it's cool to see these moments where Hugh is both teaching Diana, but he's also sharing about his own past and experiences as well. It's cool to see that dynamic reflected in a game. But as a dad, I'm always working to create a safe, fun, and happy home for my kids. And I enjoy finding collectibles in games anyway. So it's no surprise how much I've enjoyed tracking down the REMs in Pragmata and giving them to Diana, watching the shelter transform from a generic, austere, cold sci-fi base into a kind of makeshift home where she can play and draw. It's just really cool. Hanging up her drawings on the console and her commenting on how messy things are from drawing definitely felt like an experience I can relate to. And when she gives you the drawing, that resonates for me. And it's cool having two kids at an age right now where they're still bringing you drawings to hang up everywhere. It's the best. So watching the game's shelter become a home is really cool. And working every day to make a home for my family has been one of the most consistently rewarding experiences of my life. And I'm enjoying this little microcosm of that in Pragmata. But the funny and I guess somewhat paradoxical part of all this is that as much as Pragmata made me reflect on how much I love being a dad, I've spent the last 6 years since becoming one debating whether or not I should even play video games at all. If it's irresponsible to be playing games, let alone start a YouTube gaming channel now that I'm a dad. And where I've struggled since having kids is determining what place, if any, video games have in my life. Could I still be a good dad and play video games? And honestly, there's so much I could unpack there, but the answer I've come to is like, yes, of course I can. And for reasons that could probably be its own video. But why I think playing this game has been so meaningful to me is that for all this concern about how video games might make me an irresponsible or immature dad, I walked away from Pragmata just being reminded of how grateful I am to be a father and all the things I love about being a dad. And no video game, no hobby, no technology is ever going to keep me from trying to be the best dad I can be. Anyway, thanks for watching and for your time. I appreciate it. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, and I'll see you all in the next video, and we'll get back to our normal programming around here. I got some reviews and first impressions coming up, so I will see you there. Have an awesome day.